I think it's been since the 16-bit era that I accepted the multi-platform lifestyle. After that anyway. I mean, before then, I just had what I had. I had an Atari 2600, I had an NES, just whatever my family had at that time. That's what I played and that's what I knew. So yeah, I knew Nintendo quite a bit. And around the 16-bit era, that's when I could start buying my own stuff, working, doing that kind of thing. And yeah, I had a Super Nintendo and I really loved it. And I don't really remember participating too much in the console wars at that time. It was all out there. It was pretty crazy stuff. I didn't have a Genesis at that point, but I had friends who had one. Same thing with the Sega Master System. I got to play them quite often. And I had a lot of fun with this stuff. And moving forward to today, I'm still a gamer. I want to talk about games. I want to play my games and don't really jump into the ragging on one system or the other. And seeing the title of this video, whatever it may be, you may be like, look at this fool wearing a PlayStation hat. He's going to be pro PlayStation with his thoughts. Not necessarily. Here's my wallet right here. I represent every way I can. Xbox, Nintendo, PlayStation. I'm just a gamer. I'm not a fanatic for one system or the other, but I recognize there's pros and cons to all of this stuff. And reflecting on the PS5 and the Xbox Series X, it's been out for 6 months now, around 6 months. If I would have waited, if I still didn't have one right now, a lot of people, it's kind of hard grabbing one of these. I got lucky, right place, right time, getting those pre-orders in, staring at a computer screen, right? But there's a lot of people who did decide, you know what, I'm going to wait it out. And I started thinking about this recently. If I would have waited it out, or if I wasn't lucky enough to grab a pre-order at that time, would have I really been missing much? Because after having played these systems for these past 6 months, it's like, if I would have just kept my PS4 and my Xbox One, would have things really been too different? In reality, the PS5, the Xbox Series X were what forced me, or not forced me, but motivated me to adopt that 4K lifestyle. Like around the time that these systems came out, upgraded the TVs in our house. We bought 4K TVs. We never had a 4K TV before. And we've been reaping the benefits of that since, with movies and gaming and whatnot. And yeah, these games look beautiful. But between the two systems, man, there's so much to talk about. And really reflecting on that, I mean, have I played a lot? Like the PS5, what exclusives are there for the PS5? I mean, most of the stuff is on the PS4. And a similar thing with the Xbox. I want to talk about the Xbox quite a bit as well. But it's more what's coming out in the future. We got that Ratchet and Clank, Horizon Forbidden West. I'm really looking forward to that. Not the hugest Ratchet and Clank fan, but a lot of people have been telling me you got to check that series out. So most likely I will. Gran Turismo I'm looking forward to. Some of these other games weren't that big of a deal to me, like the exclusives right now. I'm looking forward to the new God of War coming out for the PS5. But as far as right now, playing what I've played, no, I haven't really experienced what I would consider next gen. And it goes the same with the Xbox, to be honest. There's a lot of cool stuff coming out for the Xbox as well in the near future. But as far as exclusives go, yeah, they're going to have a lot of that Bethesda stuff going on. So that could be kind of cool. I know some people are very irked at that, but that's, in the position I'm in, I guess I feel lucky. I don't know. I don't know how to explain it. I just budget my money accordingly. I'm not rich by any means. I just buy the things I want and enjoy what I can, So I have an Xbox, I have a PlayStation 5, I have a Nintendo Switch, and I play them all. But yeah, the Xbox exclusives don't really tickle it for me as much as the PlayStation 5 necessarily. But the Xbox has so much going for it. Yeah, I'm looking forward to Halo Infinite and a few other things. It's just way too early. It's not even the first year yet. We have to look at a couple years in. That's really when those system sellers will be hitting, in my opinion. So, they're both going to... Oh, yeah, I'm looking forward to that flight simulator. I didn't get to play that on PC, so, that comes out for the Series X. I'll be all over it playing that thing. Psychonauts 2, not technically a console exclusive, but it's launching. Okay, Game Pass. That's the one thing I want to talk about. When you talk about value with these systems, that's the biggest thing for me. And, to be honest, I have a family, I have kids. I think the most played console in our house, besides the Nintendo Switch, that thing gets a lot of play, is the Xbox. And the main reason for that is Xbox Game Pass. There's just so much value behind that and savings, especially when you have a family, kids who want to play a bunch of crazy games. And it's like, they're continually adding stuff to it. Some things do drop off, but it does give you a taste of some games, gives you stuff to do, and I've really seen the value with that. My kids are on the Xbox more than anything, besides, like I said, the Switch. Yeah, they play the Switch quite often. I don't know the exact numbers, but the Xbox gets a lot of play because of Game Pass. I think that's a huge value with the system, everything that you get to play. But with that, it goes into this thought process that I had a while back when the Series X and the Series S were launching. Looking at the whole thing and how things really didn't change. Yes, the specs changed. Games are taking advantage of that. The older games, that's a big thing too, is the backwards compatibility. Xbox has that down. They don't have quite as long of a history in the console gaming market as Sony does with the PlayStation. But what they do have, there's a lot of people who want to play that stuff, and their backwards compatibility with the Xbox is definitely a huge bonus. We've been taking advantage of it, playing 360 games, a few old school Xbox games as well. And, going back to our previous library game, it's really cool, being able to do that. You can't do that necessarily with the PS5. The PS5, you could play the majority of the PS4 library, and that is great. Some people are really hyped up with all that talk early on. Oh, we're going to have, Sony's going to do backwards compatibility for their whole, series of systems. That would have been awesome. And in all reality, though, I buy a new console to play new games. And I know that may be, weird hearing that from me, somebody who really loves old school games, but I bought the PS5 to play PS5 games. I didn't buy it to play PlayStation 1, PlayStation 2, PlayStation 3 games. If it did all that, that would have been sweet, but that's not the main reason I bought it. I bought it because I want to play new stuff, and I haven't really got to play new stuff between either of these systems, so having that backwards compatibility on the Xbox is definitely a huge selling point, in my opinion. If you did what I did, which I kind of regretted a little bit, especially with the PS4 Pro, I sold those systems, sold my PS4, because I had a PS4 and a PS4 Pro, sold them bitches, got rid of the Xbox One, got rid of that. I had a 1S, got rid of that confusing naming scheme, man. I mean, it's not confusing to me, but them old grandmas buying the Xbox for their little grandson Timmy. He wanted an Xbox, and next thing you know, you're getting an Xbox One S, not the Series S or the Series X. Oh my God. Okay, I get it. But that's kind of where I was going at with the Xbox. I feel like this thought that I had that they're kind of not being a console manufacturer. They're just becoming an ecosystem of games. Like, you could just play these games on your PC, on the Xbox One. Like, it's just this ecosystem of, doesn't matter. Yeah, we're selling hardware. I feel at some point, will they get out of the hardware business? I don't know, but they have this whole ecosystem of just their games being available. And it's definitely a different vibe than Sony or Nintendo, more so different than Nintendo. But, Sony and Xbox, they both have a different approach with the way things are going on here. And I can appreciate what both of them do, but man, it's really looking toward the future. One of the biggest things with these two consoles that drives me nuts is the storage space. Like the PS5, what do we have? I got a couple notes down here. We launched with 825 gigabytes on the PS4 or the PS5, and on the Series S, we had 512 gigs and 1 terabyte on the Series X. Obviously, those are all pulled down by 20-30% or so for storage, for operating system type stuff. So you're not getting the full amount there. So yeah, we kind of launched with a very weak, base storage to, install our games to. And that's the thing that drives me nuts with current, next gen, previous gen, these past few generations of consoles is it's not like back in the day, you pop in the disc and you just start playing. Or you pop in a cartridge and you just start playing. No, you got to download updates. You got to install that bitch to the hard drive. And holy crap, my PS5, for example, this is the one that is driving me nuts because I haven't ran out of storage in my Series X. And I find that odd because we've downloaded a ton, maybe not a literal ton, but it feels like a ton. We've downloaded a ton of games on the Series X off of Game Pass, and I haven't ran out of storage. And I haven't had the extremely micromanaged storage yet. Been getting kind of close, but the PS5, it's where I don't really have much of a digital library. I've only downloaded maybe 2 games on the PS5 off of like the PS4 like carryover stuff, whatever it was called, where you got PS4 games. I downloaded like I know I downloaded God of War. I don't remember if I downloaded anything else off of that list. I downloaded Destruction All Stars, um, and then what was that stupid game? The vegetables and fruits. I deleted that right away though. Bug Snatch, right? I deleted that. So I only downloaded a couple games to that hard drive, and I'm out of space. I bought Resident Evil Village for the PS5. I couldn't play it. I had to delete shit, right? Like Call of Duty took up so much damn space. Everything, just installing these games, these updates, Miles Morales, everything. It's just so much space being taken up. And Sony wasn't prepared for this from the get-go. That's what drives me nuts. It's expensive. Like the Series X, they have the little 1 terabyte card. You can just pop in the back. I actually kind of like that. It's expensive though. It's $220 for 1 terabyte, right? And you got to have that if you want to, play those games with the, enhanced, Series X stuff, whatever, right? Play Series X games with all the enhancements. Like $220 to expand your storage by 1 terabyte is freaking nuts. But it's what you got to do, I guess. But the PS5 wasn't prepared. Supposedly later this year, they should be enabling that extra slot that's in the system, which leads me to the other thing. I'm going to have to take off the plates from the PS5 to put in more storage. Right now, we don't even know what storage. I mean, it's PCIe 4.0, and they're advising, like people are advising, don't go running out buying what you could find now because there is no approved storage list yet. Wait until Sony says this is the approved, like this will work before you go buying anything. But the prices on those drives are outrageous, especially if you want a terabyte, 2 terabytes. It's a lot of freaking money. Sure, prices should go down over time, but right now we're not seeing it. And it just drives me nuts, man. I can't enjoy this system the way I hoped with just those limitations with storage. Not the hugest deal. Sure, you can transfer PS5 games to external storage, but you can't play them off of that. You have to transfer them back. So now you're down to you got to really manage everything. And that's what kind of got me with the Series S with the Xbox is it's only 512 gigabytes, but it's only a digital system. And with that, you're gonna run out, and it's only like 300 gigabytes after the system OS stuff is on there. Now you're gonna have to really micromanage stuff, or buy that $220 1 terabyte storage to have 1.5 terabytes. Now you're at over what the Xbox Series X cost with 1 terabyte of storage, and you could use physical media, which a lot of times physical media goes on sale. Digital goes on sale too, but you see more sales with physical stuff. A lot of times there are a lot of good digital deals. I mean, I'll give you that, but I kind of had to weigh that too. Like the Series X, when everything's said and done, I'm going to pay around the same to have the same storage. Now the Series S, from what I understand, since it's not optimized for the all the stuff that the Series X can do, that game installs are going to be quite a bit smaller than what they will be on the Series X to have all those enhancements. So that's a benefit if you have the Series S, which I think for $300, fantastic value with that, especially with Game Pass. But my God, I mean, what does the future hold? We still have, we got stuff coming out this year, but it's really going to be another year before we really start seeing heavy hitters and value being behind playing next gen stuff, playing the new future of gaming, right? And then where's Nintendo? Nintendo's at a weird place in their life cycle with the Switch, over 4 years in. And now the talks of the Switch Pro possibly launching this year. Really curious to see what happens with that. But right now with these two systems, it's just kind of I don't feel like I would have missed out if I would have waited, is really what I wanted to talk about. This was I didn't really extremely prepare for this discussion. I just had these thoughts in my mind. Did take a couple notes just on the storage space. That was about it. And I really don't feel like I would have been left out if I would have waited. It's really cool that I got the systems. I'm happy that I do, but as far as enjoying what I would consider the next level of gaming, nah, not really. I mean, okay, I played if I wouldn't have been able to play Cyberpunk on the normal PS4, the Xbox One with all the glitches and crap. I did play it on the Series X, and I had some weird bugs, but the game was still enjoyable to a certain degree. which eventually I switched to playing it through on my PC instead, which was, that's a whole other thing, man. The PC people, my God. What do you guys think, man? That's all this is, just a discussion. Let me know what you guys think in the comments. Really do appreciate y'all. And with that said, I will catch you next time. Peace out, bye-bye, and boom. Bye. Big ass thumb, bye.